do we got? So we got a new dog, just got dropped off. We'll be posting some video of him here. I think Monday is when the vlog will be coming out from the drop-off. Nice. This is a dog. This is his second time to us, not for reasons that you'd think, like he had to finish a board and try and then come back for another one or anything. He actually came a month or so ago. It's this dog, Thor. And big pitty mix. Pretty big dog, whatever. And, he's here for all sorts of different issues. Very reactive, kind of an asshole, whatever. And he stayed for a week with us, and he fucking bit Michelle. So I had to send right before I was getting ready to go on vacation. Yeah. So I sent him home, and I was like, he's going to have to come back when I'm back in town.
Yeah.
This dude he's a real sleeper. And listen, so we don't have bites very often, right? We typically put in place very, very good protocols to make sure nobody's getting injured or anything like that. And luckily, this wasn't a serious bite by any means, right? But he's a sleeper with shit, man. So he came in, he was very reactive, right? But like I'm almost 100% positive he did not have a prior bite record, right? There was, he's like I said, he's snarky and he's like a dick, but like most cases, those dogs, there's not a whole lot of commitment behind him.
Yeah.
Right. So he was like a weekend, right? And we were kind of taking our time with things, right? We weren't pushing the envelope too much. We were trying to build a relationship, do some food training, basic leash pressure stuff. And we were getting ready to start socializing him with other dogs. It's like 6 days in, something like that. So we were going to put a muzzle on him, and Michelle went to go put the muzzle on him. And as soon as she went to go clip that thing behind his ears, he jumped up, boom, tagged her right in the pinky. Nice little pinky bite there.
Yeah.
Right? So come to find out, right, as we're really kind of pushing things and testing things a little bit more with him, his biggest issue here is he does not want things put around his neck, right? So obviously anytime we're in a situation where we have a dog that like kind of some of that aggression comes out of, comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's a predictable thing, but like, we weren't expecting it for sure. I like to, essentially assign the dog to myself for a little bit. I work with the dog. I really push that envelope and see where are those quirks, right? What sort of things do we need to do in order to keep him and everybody else safe, obviously. And I was getting ready to go out of town, so there was no way I could do that. So I called the guy up. I was like, hey, listen, man. I was like, this is what just happened. I was like, no big deal. We'll still train him, but I'm getting ready to leave, so you're going to have to bring him back when I get back. So he went home. He spent about 3 weeks at home, and then he just got back here the other day. And he has been a fun one to work with so far, man. So now, as I've been really pushing the envelope, and the owner really didn't see a lot of this behavior before because nobody would be collaring him and like putting muzzles on him and stuff like that. And honestly, outside of that, he was sketchy, but he wasn't doing anything really. Like I said, he would react. Like when he came in, like he's fired up, like barking at everybody and stuff like that. But like 75% of the dogs that come here for board and train do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this time around, I had the owner muzzle him up ahead of time, noticing right off the rip, like the owner was like, man, I don't know if he's going to let me put this muzzle on. Not from the standpoint if he was scared the dog was going to bite him, but this dog just evades and resists any sort of anything being put on him, even from the owner. And I told him, I was like, listen, we had him in for the drop off. Obviously, I was like, this is your first training lesson. I was like, you got to get that muzzle on him, right? I was like, this is, especially if he wasn't going to bite him or anything like that, right? He has a good relationship with his dog, obviously, where he's not scared of him from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But this dog is telling you, I don't want you to do this thing. And so much of the battle when working with these dogs is getting to a place where we're saying, listen, man, you have to. You have to do it.
You got to do it.
You got to let me do this right now.
Yeah.
So it was funny. It took him like probably 5-10 minutes to get that thing on. Finally, he got that thing over his face. Dude, this dog was fighting with every ounce of his being. He's like, do not put this thing on me. Do not put this thing on it. Finally, he got it on. I was like, all right, big victory. There's our first win, right? So we've been using the muzzle with him since. And I've really been pushing the envelope with that collaring stuff. And man, I mean, he's only been here now for, I think, like 5 days. No, not even. I think today is his 5th day, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even his 4th day, something like that. But he's been a pain in the ass. And like I said, he's such a sleeper with things because walking around perfectly fine, leash work, pets and training, commands, stuff like that. Like he's doing fine with. It's just putting that freaking collar on, and he's so fast with it too, right? So like he's got the muzzle on, and again, our Baskerville muzzles, they're not totally bite proof, especially the larger sizes like he needs. They have fairly big holes in them that you could easily get your appendages in, right? So I've been using the muzzle, and then I've been putting like the bite gloves on, right? So they get these big ass like welding gloves that you could use. And I just take that collar, and I'm just going up. Zoop, I go to put it on, and it's like as soon as I like get it under his chin and go like this, he just flailing and snapping like crazy. Just being a pain in the ass with it, right? And the root of all of these problems, this is the interesting thing with all these cases, right? It's 100% fear-based. Now, does that make it acceptable? No. Right? But he's so scared. I mean, you could tell, right? Like, he loosens up a little bit, like when we're not doing the collaring stuff, but he definitely is scared of us, right? And when I go to put that collar on, dude, you see like it's like you could see his body language change from like, I'm scared, I'm tensing every freaking muscle in my body, my tail's totally tucked, holding his breath, whale eyes, right? And then it's like collar goes right here, and it's just like, which is all these damn dogs, right? They just explode it like that, right? And it's not like he's coming after me. It's not like he's pursuing me or anything like that. He's just trying to get me to go away, right? So a lot of people, right, look at situations like this and they're like, well, how do we go about fixing that, right? And it's such a multi-step process, because there's plenty of people that will say that the correcting for the behavior is what fixes that problem. There's plenty of people that will say counter conditioning is what's going to fix that problem. And in actuality, what I've found is that it's kind of a combination of the two. Right. So first and foremost is contrary to a lot of things that I say when it comes to like, don't worry about punishment creating additional stress or additional fear or anything like that. I don't want to make it a worse experience initially unless I have to. Right. So I'm not jumping right in and correcting this behavior. Right. I don't think that would be very productive in this case, because when you get into these dogs that with those fear-based explosions where they like bottle it up so tight and then just launch it out, I think sometimes that actual response that you get of the snapping and stuff is just borderline uncontrollable because they're so tightly wound in that situation, right? And I might be able to suppress it a little bit further with a correction if I really need to, right? But ultimately, he's got to realize that me putting collars on is just not that big of a deal, right? 100%. Now, the reason why it's also not a counter conditioning process is because I'm not also going to focus on like keeping him under threshold and keeping him happy, where it's like I approach like collar reward, and then go a little closer, and then go a little closer, and then go a little closer, right? Yeah. Because at that point, he's never learning to work through those emotions that actually stress him to the point of reacting, right? So what have we been doing? I've just literally been putting the collar on and off about a gazillion times every single time I take him out for a session, right? And here's what it usually looks like, right? Day one, took him out, right? And I'm not even talking training collars. I'm talking like his flat collar, right? Went over, unclipped it, took it off, thrashed around like crazy, right? Went back, put it on, thrashed around like crazy. Went back, took it off, thrashed around like crazy. And then little by little, each time I did it, like 4 times in, it would be like a little less of a response. And then 5th time, it was like a little less of a response. And then 6th time, it was like a little less of a response, right? And then 7th time, it was like he got super fucking tense and like growled a little bit, but didn't snap, right? And then next time, super tense and like growled a little bit, but didn't snap. And then next time, super tense, but no growling. You know what I mean? And it just progressively, as I just did it over and over and over and over and over and over again, he just started to slowly realize, okay, wait a minute. He's literally not doing anything. Yeah. He's literally not doing anything, right? Yeah.